everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much everyone for coming back to my channel. And if you're listening this episode on the podcast, thank you so much for listening. It is February 28, 2024, Wednesday. I needed to come here and speak about this. First of all, I gotta say it's raining really bad tonight here in Connecticut, and it's very windy, so you might hear some noises. But getting to the subject now, Pastor Mike Todd, I'm sure you guys are a lot of people who go to an American church these days are probably very familiar right now about Pastor Mike Todd. He is the pastor. I don't know how many years ago this happened, but he's the pastor who poured out saliva, I think it was, in the eyes of somebody, and it was like right when we were still during the pandemic, and the video became viral. He did that during one of his sermons, and he actually did it to a person he's actually one of his brothers, and he did this illustration in one of his sermons, and he actually put out saliva, I believe, in the eyes of this man. I think he was obviously trying to do the same thing that Jesus did, but hey, that's a different thing, right? Let me just tell you something. So today I'm going to speak about Mike Todd and the recent sermon illustration that he used in one of his services in this month in February. So it says here, Pastor Mike Todd pours syrup, sprays whipped cream on a Bible as a sermon illustration. So if you guys been following me for a long time, not long ago I came here and spoke about I don't even know what episode it was, but it was regarding the Bible. And I made the point that I was telling you when I did New York Fashion Week, I cannot believe it's going to be almost 2 years already. But this particular Fashion Week that I did in Times Square, I had a vision for it, specifically if it was going to be in Times Square. So long story short, the whole idea was that if I was going to get such a big platform as Times Square, I needed my message to be stronger, right? So I have brought Bibles so that the models can carry the Bible during their walk, right? And I remember being all nervous about it. You know, when I go to Fashion Week, it's not like I can handpick my models. Actually, I do, but based on appearance, right? I do get to select my models based on that. I don't know if they believe in God or not. I don't know how comfortable they feel. So anything can happen, right? So I can show up, and do the fitting, and then I will be telling them, hey, you're gonna carry the Bible. So I always ask them, how comfortable are you doing this? And I tell them the reason why I'm doing that, right? Telling them that I'm a designer who's trying to use their gifts and talents to glorify God and spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. That has been my point since I opened my business, and every opportunity that I get, I gotta follow through, right? So the idea for New Year Fashion Week was about using the Bible for the first time. I've done fashion shows, so many fashion shows, thank God. This time, I was like, I'm gonna use the Bible, and I was like, it's the vision that God gave me. And even when when God told me to use the Bible, I was like, oh, that's so, like, for me, it was like, oh, I don't know if I'm strong enough to use it, because to me, the Bible in itself is so sacred, right? And I was like, I don't want to speak with each model, and then this whole idea of make sure you use the Bible in a very modest way. I remember telling them, this is just you carrying a book down the runway, so I don't want like any crazy poses with it or not. But at the end of the day, once the model starts walking, like that's like it's out of your hands, right? So imagine if somebody probably was gonna do something bad to me or to my brand, they might be like, I don't care what she's talking about, I'm gonna toss the Bible or something. That was my biggest fear. So I remember going through that whole anxiety. I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. And the crazy thing is like, when it's from God, like God puts people in your path. And I remember being so scared, but they were doing her makeup, and right when they came to do their final outfit, I said, you're gonna carry the Bible to each one. I think I had 10 Bibles. And one of them said, "Oh my goodness, I'm a Christian too. I cannot believe that this is happening. This is so amazing. We never seen anything like this." And so, like it was very well received, at least for the models, right? I think for everybody. Well, from the people that came and talked to me afterwards. But anyways, I had to speak about that because for me, doing that show in Times Square was so overwhelming, in the sense that I said to God, if I'm gonna get the biggest that big of a platform as Times Square, I want them to carry the Bible. um I'll do the Bible. After he gave me the revelation to use the Bible, I'm like, if I get Times Square, I'll do the Bible. And once I signed that contract, I'm like, I got it by God at this point, right? So I remember the anxiety and being a little nervous how it was going to be perceived, because to me the Bible is a very sacred thing. It's the Word of God. You don't play with that, You don't play with that. Even when I was even packing it, like I was so careful about it. And, it's just, I don't know. It's not an idol, but it's the Word of God, right? So I don't know what's going on with the American churches. Like, I don't understand why, whatever happened to just reading the Bible calmly. The other day I was watching a sermon on YouTube, and this guy kept screaming. It's like, there's no need to scream. Like, every sentence you're screaming at every sentence. Like, I got to the point that I don't know if I had a headache or not, but I'm like, I can't watch it anymore. Like, I don't know. I don't see the need. Like, you have to be screaming all the time. And these churches have become an entertainment platform, you know. There's also like a Spanish preacher that I've seen a lot on TikTok, and every clip that they show of her, it's all about, what people hate you is because God has to put the lie on you. And then this lady, basically it's all about that. It's all about, you're gonna reach your dreams, you're gonna do so much inspirational type of thing. And this lady gets booked to do women's conference, to go preach at so many different churches. And I understand, if God called her to do that, to be a minister, like, that's between her and God. But I'm like, what is the Bible reading in this? Okay, where is the Bible reading? And my Todd, I think it was last year. I don't even remember if it was the Easter service for his church in Atlanta. I believe his church is in Oklahoma, excuse me. Mike Todd is the pastor at Transformation Church in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I remember, besides the fact that he did that huge viral sermon about putting saliva on his brother's eyes, kind of to do the illustration, I believe it was last year, they also did kind of like a Grammy type of sermon at his church where they have dancers. And I'm going to see if I can find the clip to put it here for you guys to see. Obviously, by the way, every time I'm showing you like a clip from that doesn't belong to me, I got to put a background music so it doesn't get copyright. And it's going to be very short, by the way. So it's very, like, the amount of rehearsal time that it takes for these churches just to illustrate something. It makes you wonder, is it even worth it? Excuse me, are you really trying to do this? Are you really trying to preach the gospel? Because you have to understand, who are we following? We're following Jesus Christ, who was walking down by where the fishers were, and he looked at them and said, follow me. And they follow. Like, what's up with all this theatrical production and using secular music and having to do, outfits changes and all of that just to say to people, come to Christ? Really? All of that is really necessary? And people say, oh no, we have to reach the younger audience. We have to reach the youth. Like, really? Get on Instagram and see how a top influencer, see how many likes they get. They can post a photo, the most simple outfit, and they'll get like so many likes. It doesn't take that much, and it's not about convincing either. You have to understand that a word that you might say to somebody, if the Holy Spirit is working on that person, or if God is calling that person at that moment, you don't have to do all these theatrical things for them to get it. And I feel like all this money, and God told me that when I was watching this video of what Mike Todd did, throwing the food, his sermon basically was about food and eating healthy. I understand that's the priority that we all have to do. I understand that. But the church is so calendar wise with society these days that, of course, it's the beginning of the year. They have to talk about dieting and exercise. Because they're, that's they have to speak about it because they have to go according to the calendar. In a couple weeks, everybody's gonna talk about Easter and the bunny, and we don't believe in the bunny, but we're doing it for the kids, right? The same thing they do for Christmas. Oh, and the same thing they do for Halloween. They have to follow the society calendar because they want to be relevant. How much relevant can you be if you're talking about Jesus Christ? Like, you can never influence the world by trying to be like it. If anything, people are not going to see any difference. The sermon that he did, I don't know if it was Easter or Christmas, it looked like the Grammys at a church where people are supposed to come to receive the gift of salvation. And this pastor and this production team and tech team in this church, the leadership team in this church approved all of this. Then we have another pastor during the Super Bowl who had a Bible with a cover like a football, and they tossed the Bible across the way. So what are you seeing right now? During the Super Bowl last month, you had another famous mega church who had the Bible tossed around across the stage. And now you have this pastor putting whipped cream on top of the Bible to illustrate about eating healthy, tossing Chinese food all over like the pews. Like he set up the stage of the church like a church building, and then he started tossing food out, talking about how the body is the temple and how we treat it, right? And you think about it, like, God reminded me immediately when I was looking at him throwing all this food. I was like, man, you know how many people right now are struggling to buy groceries? Yes, I know people are going to be like, well, everybody has an issue. Everybody has a problem. Like, give money to the poor. You're making your production people rehearse so that you can go out there and preach the gospel according to you. You're going to preach the gospel by throwing food across the stage that somebody else got to come out and clean. And you call them, oh yeah, they're just serving, they're probably volunteers, they're just serving, they're doing the works of the Lord. Do you think all of that is really necessary? And not only that, on top of that, you're going to use the Bible. What pattern are we seeing? There's something going on with the actual book, right? We're going to see this is the second church that has done this, that we know, right, that I know. So the first church in January was the one that tossed the Bible across the stage and put it as like they were tossing a football. And now we have Mike Todd because, all these churches, by the way, they're all connected. If you look at some sermons on YouTube, famous church, I better. Look at on Sunday morning, go on live shit. You gotta, pick the big ones, right? And look at them briefly, and you're gonna see a pattern. They all almost like connected. It's almost like the big change of American churches, and they're all gonna talk about the same. In the fall, they're all gonna have the Halloween fest, which is called Fall Fest or Harvest Fest. But you still can come dress up as Dracula, right? Because we gotta do it for the kids, all of that stuff, right? But anyways, this guy, what do they qualify? I have never seen the pastors that are coming out right now. It's almost like they all have a degree in acting, or like I'm sure they get classes. They go to a speech class. They go to to be influential. They have to to be influential and all of that. Imagine if God called you to do something, it's because God called you to do, like, He will equip you. You don't have to go and, like, I gotta get myself, I want to be able to connect with people and, like, have, the best illustration out there. I have to do the best of that. Then you are an influencer. You're not trying to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. You're trying to get followers for you. So this is what's happening. I'm going to see if I can put the clip for you. If you haven't seen it yet, if you're listening on the podcast, search Mike Todd Transformation Church sermon about food that happened on January 28th. And you're going to let me know in the comments. Come back and let me know what you think about it. Okay? It says here, the pastor used the audience. Let me just read to you briefly. Mike Todd, pastor at Transformation Church in Tulsa, Oklahoma, recently poured syrup and sprayed whipped cream on a Bible and communion elements as a sermon illustration. I remember the communion elements. The communion is so sacred, you guys. That is so sacred. I remember one time when I was in college, a long time ago, I had a part-time job at a bank. I was like a data entry person or something. I remember I was barely new, and I remember going to the kitchen, and some of the coworkers were talking to me about it. I don't know, but I'm always like talking about God, and I said, yeah, I go to church and this and the other, and they're like, oh yeah, you got the little cup and the little cracker. And I was like, that's a little disrespectful though. Like, don't call it that. If you don't know what it is, don't call it that. And they make fun of it. They're like, oh yeah, we always take the little cup and the little cracker, the little grape juice and the little cracker. And I was thinking, I was like, that is so sacred to me. I just said, I completely ignored them. But thinking back, I'm like, oh, these people are making fun of it. Like I said, I was a college student. These are professionals working there. I was like their data entry mail person at this bank corporate, but it was just crazy. So to me, the community has always been so sacred. And if it's sacred for somebody like us, people of God who grew up in the church and all of that, and then you're trying to speak to somebody about God and you tell them about communion, how sacred it is, and they're like, maybe, I was talking to my friend Julissa, and yeah, maybe I should get and reach out to God more and like read more of the Bible and this and that. Let me see if I find a good sermon on YouTube to watch. And they come across Mike Todd pouring syrup on church elements, on the communion elements, and tossing the Bible across like a football. This is the problem that the American church has right now. Because people are gonna be, what is this, some type of joke? I don't think any of this is necessary. Use the money to feed the poor. And people can be like, oh, they already do food banks and this and the other. Then if you have extra money, there's so many people in need right now. Okay, there are people that are sitting in churches right now that are even afraid, because right now you cannot ask people for prayer anymore. Before you ask people for prayer, they're already looking at you weird. And they're like, how come you don't have money to buy groceries? What are you talking about? What happened to you? Instead of saying, hey, let me get groceries for you this week. Oh, everything is a judgment. Everything is a judgment. It's so hard to find people to even pray for you without giving you the look like, what is she talking about? Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to change job? Why would you want to get married? Why would you want to, move? Why would you want to, like, I'm just asking you for prayer. Like, that's it. But we're so proud of our opinions these days. We are so prideful in our own opinions, thinking that it's above everything. And we're so willingly giving it to people without even praying with them, or even asking God if that's what you want me to say to somebody. But anyways, excuse me. Let me know what you guys think about this. Like I said, look it up. It's on YouTube, I'm sure. It's on TikTok. Mike Todd putting whipped cream on top of a Bible and tossing food in a church. Have a good day, everybody. God bless.
I don't need these clothes no more. I need everybody to see this. Yeah. If this is the temple, the house of God, I'm just gonna start acting how we be acting with our bodies in the house. My favorite is Chinese food and ketchup. Why you so bothered? Who gonna clean it? Yeah, this is just the house of God. It's just a house. Just a house.
Hi everybody, this is Julissa. I'm here to invite you to my podcast, Julissadesigns, and it can be found on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. You can join me every day as I make episodes of the latest news, real life stories, and I also share my favorite Bible verse. Hope to see you then. God bless. Everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if you want to know more about me, you can always visit www.julissadesigns.com. Have a great day, everybody. God bless.